following segment is paid for by CenterWell Senior Primary Care.
Well, not everyone thinks of a doctor's appointment as something they need to plan. You usually go when you're feeling a little sick, right?
Right. Although, today we're going to find out why you should plan ahead. We're joined by Dr. Tracy Wakefield from CenterWell Senior Primary Care to discuss ways to help you plan for your next doctor's visit so you can really make the most out of it. Isn't that what it's about, Doctor?
Absolutely. A lot of people don't think about actually planning for their doctor's visits, but most people only see their doctor about maybe once or twice a year. So it's important to be prepared so you can share the most information with your physician when you see them. You got to take that opportunity because the better they know you, the better they can treat you and take care of you.
And I think we're going to make that point today, especially for seniors. Let's
Yes.
focus on our seniors today and talk about what does it mean to plan ahead for a doctor's visit when you're a senior?
So there's a few things you should do. First of all, you should think about, take really an inventory of your health and how you've been feeling overall. Have you been having any issues with pain or congestion or anything like that? Are you having any symptoms of depression or anxiety, which is particularly prevalent since the pandemic? The other thing is, there may have been something that occurred, maybe one night you weren't feeling so well, so you want to make sure to bring that up and take a list of that so that you can mention it to your physician, because although it may seem like nothing, you want to make sure it's nothing more serious. Also, it's important to make a list. Make a list of all the things that you want to
Yes.
bring up with the clinician, because those are the things that we find are so important. Also, an active list of your medications and all the supplements that you are taking. You want to share that with your primary care provider. I know at CenterWell that's integral to us because we understand that the more we know our patients, the better we can take care of them.
I started smiling when she mentioned writing the list because my dad used to do that. He had a little small flipping notepad that he
Yeah.
would take into his visits. So.
Well, it's so important, and I feel like we also have to talk about what you do after the appointments. I think there's so much information that people take in. So what tips do you have for that?
Well, first of all, I would recommend too at the appointment when you're going through your list, just as a reminder, go through that list because we know as experts in senior primary care that that's really helpful. It also helps you remember it, right? But also to make sure that you have addressed all the issues that you want to bring up with you. The other thing is, I know I am guilty as a doctor, and sometimes we speak really quickly and we talk about very complex issues. So it's really important, if you need to, tell them to slow down, right, and talk about things in a manner that's a little more understandable. Because
Yes.
oftentimes, we talk like that, but you really have the right to understand your health care. But you're right, after the appointment, you may need to reach back out. Maybe you forgot to mention something.
Right.
Maybe you have a new symptom that has occurred since the visit, or maybe you forgot to write something down that you needed to do after the visit. Also, we feel it's important to have a constant dialogue with your care team, because that's the way they know you better and they keep in touch with you and address any changes that may have occurred.
I love all the points you're making, and it's so easy with a doctor's appointment. Many of us wait weeks or months for a doctor's appointment, and when we go in, if we forget to bring something up, you think, oh shoot, I was there. And I also know, like with my husband, I'll come home and I'll say, why didn't you talk to the doctor about that? Because a lot of times, right, people have maybe some kind of an emotional judgment going on or a fear about something they're feeling.
Well, you mentioned a good point. Sometimes when that happens, you might want to bring a family member or a loved one with you to the appointment,
Yes.
because they can not only make sure you don't forget something on your list, but they may also take notes on things that needed to occur after the visit. Because you're right, emotionally you can get fired up, you've got something on your mind that you wanted to bring up, and then you forget some other points that you wanted to mention. So there's a lot of things you can do to make sure that when you leave that appointment, you are equipped with the information you needed and you know what the next steps are.
Yeah, and speaking of next steps, I think a lot of people are going to want to become patients at CenterWell. So how can people do so?
So it's easy to become a patient at CenterWell. I would recommend you visit CenterWellLasVegas.com. You can see all of our locations. We're located conveniently throughout the valley. You can also come in person and have a personal guided tour of the facility. We're always looking for patients looking for quality care.
I love it. Dr. Tracy Wakefield, always a pleasure to have you on the show. I haven't seen you, I think, since before the pandemic.
It was before the pandemic, indeed.
So it's good to see you again. I'm so glad you're practicing. You're doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, CenterWellLasVegas.com. The website is right there on your screen.